everyone, this is Karen here,
And this is Mae.
and we are from
Boomers
to
to
Gen
Gen
Z. So we're going to talk and explain a little bit about sandwich generation and how it affects especially women in their 50s, 40s, 50s.
And what is the sandwich generation?
So don't go away.
Sandwich generation. Karen, I know about paninis, I know about frozen
Bologna, ham and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, grilled
Yeah.
cheese. But a sandwich generation, what is that?
Okay, so generally, sandwich generation means you are stuck between where your children are either teenagers or adults, and you're also dealing with elderly parents. And I think if you follow the US politics, Kamala Harris also talks about this generation where we are actually in that we're stuck in between because we are stuck taking care of the elderly as well as our own children, that kind of thing.
And would you say that like the sandwich generation comes with like their own unique like who would you pick? In a situation where like, you have to pick between the upper sandwich layer or the lower sandwich layer.
I don't think you get the chance to pick. Really, you don't get to pick. It is the problem lies in the fact that um, where taking care of the elderly is now getting extremely expensive. And being Asian, we also have a highest. I mean, there's always this obligation that we got to take care of our elderly, and the question is, how can we? Sometimes, not every family can afford to take care of multiple families, meaning you have to put money with your children. Maybe they still need help financially, whether it's education or maybe starting their career. And yourself as a couple, you need money to live. And at the same time, to take care of the elderly, where in most cases, especially if they are in their 80s, insurance doesn't even kick in, which means every visit to the hospital can cost an arm and a leg. And that's something that I think I can't be the only one, and I'm sure there are a lot of Malaysians out there who goes through the same thing that I'm going through, where you have to juggle between where do you focus your finances as well as your attention in, whether it's your own kids or your own life or even the elderly, right? Yeah.
Is that? I'm sorry. I'm gonna get a little bit dark here because I'm just curious. But is this a new thing? Because back then, if we think about like I don't know, maybe like 60, 70 years ago,
Mhm.
did they have to take care of their parents in the same way that the generation now, your generation, is caring for their parents?
I think it's always existed, but then with medical care and all, people are living a lot longer. Yeah. So and it's less. So I remember when my parents kind of took care of their parents. It wasn't such a long period in a way because they pass on younger, right? But in today's world, with medical care and all that, people are living a lot longer. And then you think about it, if you as the core couple is already in your 50s or 60s, you are also trying to wind down. So disposable income becomes a bit more stretched,
Yeah.
and you won't have that kind because you're not earning the kind of money that you want to, and you kind of like maybe have a little nest egg that you want to take care for yourself for retirement, and yet you are digging into it to try to take care of your elderly parents, because they are living up to 90s or sometimes even 100. It's not uncommon now to
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
And let's face it, not only in Malaysia but in many countries where um, nursing homes are becoming super duper expensive. A visit to the hospital, a private hospital can set you back easily 5,000 sometimes
Yeah.
easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are all stresses that unfortunately a lot of women in their 50s will experience. And you know what happens in their 50s?
The loss, the menopause, the
Yeah, the
declines.
declines of hormone, the menopause, the stresses that it in itself already causes problem, and yet you top it up with this problem
Yeah.
where you have to that struggle of how do I care for my parents, how can I care for myself, how can I care for my children, what do I give priority to, what whether it's time or efforts or financial, either way, it is a stress.
So like I can't imagine because I remember my PMS. So I remember that, and I remember that like in school we used to have this thing where like if you were having your exams and you just got into your period, you got to actually tell your class teacher, and they had like in school counseling.
Right, right.
To help you through your emotions and stuff. Because when you get your PMS and you get this hormonal surge, you
Mm.
get very angry. Some of us got very sad.
Yeah.
Our body changes, and we're like, "Oh, why? Why is it like this
Exactly.
now?" And it can be very sad, like a bit cheeky. But like even like when your boobs like grow a little bit, people might think like, "Oh, that's a nice thing." But actually, like at that age, you feel very like, "What happened? Like, what's going on?"
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
So I can't imagine because what I'm guessing is there's no support for the menopausal phase, or that's not talked about as much, and then suddenly there's all these responsibilities, and you're kind of going through like a second PMS.
It is legit, and you're right. And women, I mean, traditionally, I'm kind of, it's a general term to say that generally women are the one handling all these issues. Usually, it's like the men go to work, that's it. But the women are the one who has, whether it's handling their elderly in-laws or their own parents, and that's a lot to handle. And when you think about uh, women today are so in terms of they're working, they're also doing their share in contributing financially to their home, so they have a career, they have sometimes some very high flying careers as well, which is extremely intense, extremely tiring for the brain and stressful. And imagine having that, plus having to handle uh, whether it's the elderly in-laws or their own parents, all this kind of accumulate, and you wonder why there's this panic and anxiety that comes with it. On top of that, which I talk about a lot, is that when you get to that phase, your hormone gets kind of haywire, which means when your progesterone lowers, you are very likely to have more frequent panic attacks. You will also have more anxiety attacks, and the sense of panic that comes in waves to you. And again, Sheryl Sandberg from LinkedIn,
Yes.
the chief finance officer of Meta before, said the same thing. And she also said women have to support women. And because we are going all through all these experiences together, and it's it's normal when we start to um, when we can get to a community that we can talk about these things, and we have a little outlet to kind of vent it out and have someone to hear you out through all these things. And that's why I created Women in Midlife.
So like I think because we've been doing this podcast now for like about a year,
Yeah.
and Women in Midlife has been there. So I think that what I find interesting is that as much as we unpack these topics, and there's an obvious need for this sense of community,
Yeah.
especially in Asia, which is what you focus on, right?
Correct.
But it's as if people are shy to even associate. There's like a shyness to sort of associate with the community or to comment below. Oh, if I comment below and say that, oh, share my thoughts on certain posts, I see
Yeah.
some of your posts, like it's as if people are scared of what are people going to think of them when they see their name there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's very sad because the more that we stay quiet, actually we're not supporting women. By doing that, I think that women are actually keeping it's almost selfish. By
Yeah.
not just taking that step forward, you're being a little selfish because you're not starting the conversation. So you're not advocating for other women because you're not saying that I relate.
Yeah, exactly. And when you reach out, it's not so much of counseling or even a medical condition per se, but it's just offering a, camaraderie from within the same group of people to kind of help you through it and actually understand that, we all are going through some form of it. Sometimes it's aunties that they are caring for, elderly aunties, and it's hard to deal with it. I mean, I don't know, but maybe the viewers out there can advise is that, one of the things I notice is, my father, as he get older, he's starting to get very, very aggressive and, very difficult to handle because he's frustrated, he's angry with the world, he cannot walk, he cannot do things. So, can you share with us what you feel? What should I do? Maybe you can give me some advice how I can handle this, because there are moments that I give up. I just don't know how to deal with him because he's sad. I don't know how to be with him anymore, because he doesn't want to listen. On top of that, he's deaf. So how do you talk sense to somebody who just doesn't want to hear anything anymore?
Give Karen some
Give me
advice
some advice,
in the
please.
comment section below.
Yeah.
Share some of your experiences. I don't know how to answer that because I am not in that position yet. I'm still just dealing with taking care of myself and reminding myself, oh, May, time to shower, and also my son.
Yeah, it's really, and if any one of you are going through something like that, please share with us, because we want to create a community where we can, support each other emotionally and as a friend, and just without judgment. That it is kind of part of our lives right now, and that it is our, duty to be there for our parents. But where do we draw the line? Or is there a line at all? What do you think? Is there a line?
I think there should be a line.
So share with us, and as usual,
This is all for entertainment purposes only. Please make sure that you like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, drop some comments in the comment section below. And we'll see you
next week.